Thank you for coming in this afternoon. We would like to talk to you about the MWH FRA issue. As you know, and I'd like to preface my comments initially by saying that FRA obviously operates independently as a body with, of course, government funding FRA. The MWH had a contractual obligation in place with FRA, and the contract was coming to an end at the end of December. And like with all contracts, there is an opportunity to call for fresh interest, fresh tenders, and the new parties could have been appointed. However, in the meantime, we obviously cannot comment on the specific commercial arrangements between FRA and MWH because there are various contractual obligations on the part of MWH, and of course in terms of the confidentiality provisions between FRA and MWH. However, suffice to say, before the departure of the Honourable Prime Minister to New York, the FRA board gave a briefing to the Honourable Prime Minister in respect of the commercial issues facing FRA and MWH. Fundamentally, there was an issue pertaining to the payment of various invoices. FRA, as it is obliged to do, as it has a obligation to the taxpayers of Fiji, requested various details on particular invoices that had been issued to MWH. Those details weren't forwarded to FRA by MWH, and the lawyers, of course, got involved. FRA stood its ground because it believes it needs to be given full details of all invoices and the works done under these invoices before it can make payments. Now those negotiations were going on foot, and subsequently MWH has decided to, in our opinion, unlawfully terminate its contract prior to the term of the contract expiring, which is the end of this year. Now, they've obviously walked away by abrogating this contract, and FRA will pursue it as it should. In respect of what will happen now to FRA, as you know that the FRA board chair has issued a statement, and FRA has given government the assurance, of course, that its ability to deliver and to meet the service charter to all Fijians will continue. MWH, whilst this matter is going on with MWH, FRA obviously had a backup plan. There is a plan that is there to put in place in the situation that MWH did withdraw, and they actually have withdrawn, and FRA is now attending to that. In respect of the deportation of the two MWH staff members, they were not construction workers, as some media outlets have reported, I think overseas. They were consultants working for MWH. The deportation is obviously something that is outside the scope of FRA. Deportation and the granting of work visas is the purview and indeed the privy of the government. And when any individual, like in any other country, is given an entry permit, there are certain conditions one needs to meet. We've had people, for example, Fijians who've been on work permits in New Zealand because they've had some kind of brawl outside a pub at night, are deported because they've committed a criminal act, whatever the case may be. In this particular instance, given what had transpired by the actions of these two workers of MWH or staff of MWH, in the manner in which they conducted themselves by making various threats to FRA, by breaching confidentiality provisions regarding the contractual obligations between FRA and MWH, and also trying to involve third parties, they obviously breached the terms and conditions of their work visa, and they were subsequently sent out of Fiji. That applies to all countries, and indeed Fiji will be able to maintain that position also as with work visas. And most people in Fiji who have work visas don't actually breach it, and they actually adhere to it. So from our perspective, obviously, it is disappointing that MWH has decided to terminate the contract prematurely, and whilst in fact negotiations were going on. But FRA will continue, the work program of FRA will continue, and government's focus on infrastructure will of course continue. In respect of the local staff who are employed by MWH, as I've said earlier on, like with all contracts, they do come to an end. In this particular instance, it has ended sooner than expected as far as the staff is concerned. But also at the same time, we recognize there are some very good staff in MWH which FRA could use. And FRA, of course, as you know, is building capacity internally. And so there is going to be a far less dependency on companies who are consultants or consulting companies, and a lot more capacity will be built in within FRA. So these people, of course, will be given the opportunity to apply for positions within FRA. Those people who meet the requirements based on merit, based on the requirements of FRA, will obviously have employment opportunities. But also at the same time, one must also understand, given the huge roadworks and the construction works and infrastructure works that are carrying on in Fiji, there's also a lot of opportunities available through other consultants. Some of you may know, there's, for example, another consulting firm in Fiji that's doing work, Opus, which is another firm. There are other firms that have shown interest. In fact, we've had some French companies that are showing interest. So they will also seek to employ locals who are well qualified. And with the investment in infrastructure, which is a huge outlay, it does create a lot of opportunities. You will see that, for example, some of the roading companies that have been engaged, that are local or foreign, they also subcontract a lot of work out. And in fact, most of the works, a lot of the groundworks that are being done are done by local companies. So there is also employment opportunities with those companies. So we, of course, as far as government is concerned, as we mentioned earlier on, the Honourable Prime Minister has briefed about this matter before his departure to New York. We are comfortable with the fact that FRA is dealing with the matter, and they have some very good lawyers working for them out from Sydney, from an international law firm. And they are dealing with the matter from the lawyers from MWH. But from government's perspective, we of course congratulate the FRA board for taking a position in not squandering taxpayers' money by actually standing firm, because any supplier of any services, or whether it's products or goods, to any government entity or statutory body, must justify their costs. And it is the rightful position of that statutory body or organization to actually ask as to how those costs were incurred. So if there is justification for those costs being incurred, of course, they will pay. But if a supplier of that good or service cannot justify it, then obviously we don't pay. We hope that there is a resolution that is reached. We have are quite at the moment, from government's perspective, we've had a number of other companies from other countries that are interested in the construction works that's going on, including in roading, and we welcome them. In fact, there's already discussions regarding that with the FRA board too. So that, ladies and gentlemen, are the issues facing the FRA matter vis-a-vis MWH. And as we said, we'd like to congratulate the FRA board for standing firm on this matter, and we look forward to the continued service from FRA. Thank you.